All right, everybody, I am heading out on another crazy experiment. My good friend Oleg and I are going to take this massive truck here. He has a license, don't worry. And we are going to take it right across America. First, we will go from Chicago to Seattle along the northern border, and then from Seattle diagonally to Miami. Personally, I am expecting a truly crazy adventure. And we're also going to see some unbelievable beauty. And people also say that truckers in America earn piles and piles of cash. We'll see just how true that is. Before our trip, we are checking out our lorry. In America, they're called trucks. I'm very curious. Tell me what this is.
It's a deer in the road. Right in the road.
What deer would be in the road?
Every now and then you come across wild deer. Real ones. It was a real deer. And drivers have to deal with these real deer. You will see.
So what kind?
This must have been a wild
kind of deer
trip.
was it? What kind of driver?
Was
it a wild one?
A wild deer for sure.
It's illegal to drive like that, so we're getting it serviced. Changing the bumper, it's our first holdup. All right, so right now, they're changing the broken bumper. Then we will go and pick up the cargo. At the same time, the truck is getting a wash. Do you ever get trucks coming in that are so dirty that they just can't be cleaned?
Yeah.
All right, so then tell me about the dirtiest truck you have ever seen. What did it look like?
Well, one came in 2 or 3 days ago, I think.
Uh-huh.
It took 4 hours, or maybe even 5 hours to get it cleaned up. There were dogs. It was a mess.
In the trucking business, including in the service department, there are a lot of illegal immigrants, and they have asked me to blur out their faces.
Write down the readings.
The guy who was cleaning the cabin is all the way from Kyrgyzstan, and he crossed the Mexican border in 2024. Was it difficult to get here through Mexico?
What should I say?
Did you have any problems with the cartels?
Yeah, that's always the case.
He waited for a month for his chance to cross the border, and you crossed with the coyotes, am I right?
That's right.
If you had to start from the beginning now, you're still in Kyrgyzstan. You haven't left yet. Would you go through all of that again to get into the country, or would you do something else?
If I had known how hard the route here was, I don't think I'd have come here. But if you only figure it out halfway, then there's no way back. You have to go through with it. So I did, and they told me beforehand that it would be dangerous, and I just brushed their warnings off. Until you see it for yourself, you've got no idea what you're in for.
Now he lives in a dorm with other refugees and is trying to get his documents. And how much do you make in a month from working on the trucks? On average.
On average, I'd say around $3,000 to $4,000.
$3,000 to $4,000,
Yeah.
right? The servicing and cleaning took longer than we expected, and we had to get the cargo. Otherwise, we would lose the first order. We can't afford to be late. Oleg is anxious because this is taking too long.
Let's go.
Is everything sorted out?
Yeah, we're good.
Hooray!
All right. Now let's get the trailer.
We're off to get the cargo. So we're not too late for the cargo?
Well, you'll see. We are already running 20 minutes late, but we're going to try and sort it out. Now we need to get the trailer. Quickly. So we need to rush.
Our cargo is something frozen, which is why our trailer is a huge refrigerator.
We need to check all the lights quickly, which means that I'm going to have to run a test real quick.
If they are not working, we will lose this order. Obviously, we don't want that.
All the lights are on. These ones are on. Yeah, all the lights here are on. Closing vent.
Great, let's go! Let's go, come on!
Now the doors are closed. I hope you've got your big boy pants on.
The connecting of the refrigerator took about 30 seconds, or maybe a minute. It was very, very quick. Oleg is visibly worried. He might still be late.
We have a pickup in downtown Chicago. We have a long way to go. It's long. It's very long.
Through the traffic.
Through all the traffic.
And how are we going to get through downtown in this massive machine?
You know, you will find loads of, you can find a lot of videos where there are old bridges and trucks that are constantly crashing into them, and those who don't know the roads they're on or don't have a navigation system that tells them how high the clearance of the bridge actually is, or they drive along and don't look at the signs and get caught on the bridge.
Yeah. Here is a truck that got stuck under a bridge, but this was a lucky case. There are lots of bridges that literally tear the roofs of the trailers off. In North Carolina, there's even a bridge which is officially called Can Opener, and it is easy to understand why. And because of these bridges, experienced truckers use not only the usual city maps, but also 3D ones, so they can see the bridges and road junctions. In America, a missed turn could end up costing several $1,000s.
Especially in New York, that is how it works. So even if you drove into some alley or missed your corner, for example, maybe you're using Google. Let's say that you missed your turnoff, and you can stand there under the bridge, and maybe you don't crash into it, but you need to turn the truck around. You are massive. They have to block traffic in half the town. And to get that done, you need to call the police, and they're going to fine you around $5,000. Plus, sometimes more. So for you to just turn around, and get back onto your route, it costs a lot. That's why big cities as a rule hate all cargo trucks, especially New York, because it can be catastrophic, and I'd say Chicago hates trucks the second most.
On top of that, junctions in many cities can be so complicated that it will be impossible to make sense of which way you're supposed to be going. The most confusing one in the country is the High Five Junction, or Five Heights, in Dallas. From above, it really looks like spaghetti mixed on a plate.
Those crazy junctions go straight into the sky, and if you miss one turn, you have to drive around 50 miles before you can turn back. No. Dallas is probably the most horrible city. Well, no, New York's number one. The second one is Dallas in Texas. I don't know, maybe you saw something like that in China. They're all mixed up and complicated.
The largest intersections at the moment can be found in China. Here is the most confusing one, 6 levels in Shanghai. Though, mainly in the USA, they first started to build multi-level junctions between major city highways. This 3-level junction in Los Angeles is considered to be the first one, and it was built back in 1949.
I'm on the mezzanine. I go so hard just to fuck up my enemies. Don't need revenge, success is the remedy. Ain't for the top, I'ma do 'em like Kennedy.
So we have arrived at the first pickup. And we're about 30 minutes late already. I hope we'll be loaded quickly here. We kind of have to be because we have a second pickup at 2 o'clock. Then we have a third one at 4 o'clock.
We are lucky, and the owner of the warehouse didn't give our order to somebody else. In America, there is a real war for profitable cargo, as all of the brokers are trying to take them from each other.
Oopsie.
Oh, we got a little bump. Now we have the first cargo. Alright, so now we have loaded part of one of the goods that we have to deliver. And now we have another 2 batches to go pick up. And then we are off to Seattle. There are gigantic trucks everywhere you look in the parking lot.
We're transporting Italian meatballs.
Italian meatballs.
Yeah.
To Seattle from Chicago. I wonder why they couldn't make them in Seattle.
I have no idea.
Really? They have no idea how to make them in Seattle.
Don't look for logic in America.
Later, Oleg told me that it's pretty common to need to transport strange cargo.
I always say it's pointless to try and find logic in America. Because there is none whatsoever. I know this for a fact. Ordinary cargo costs $10,000 gross. We get there for the pickup, and all it is a couch. The owner decided he wants to transport his favorite couch from Los Angeles to New York, and he paid $10,000 to deliver his couch. And the whole truck was carrying this couch for $10,000. It's crazy. Earlier this year, I was transporting some flowers from Florida, and it cost $15,000. Dollars, just to get to Seattle from Miami to Seattle. And if you go to the the florist, how much do you think those flowers in their pots would actually cost? But they needed to add some variety to their current stock. You get it.
What's the craziest thing you've had to transport? The most unusual? The most unexplainable?
If we're talking about most unusual and unexplainable, that would have easily been transporting drugs.
But we'll get to the transporting of drugs a bit later. We finally finished loading up in Chicago. I pretend to help Oleg by securing the cargo, and throughout this trip I will pretend to be a truck driver in as many chances as I get. I wash the lights and windows and put fuel in. But even though these jobs sound very simple, it's not that easy the first time around. And now to seal it, I'm just closing it, right?
Yeah. Just make sure you don't pull it too tight.
This is the way it goes, right?
From the other side.
My bad.
Don't worry about it. You're doing all right.
Professionals at work, right?
Yeah.
And I can't even get the trailer closed
there.
properly. And now we can finally get into the cabin.
So we washed everything. This is our house now. Let's take our shoes off and then put slippers on, just like we are supposed to.
Okay, guys. Happy housewarming to me. I am moving into my new house.
What is this thing supposed to be? What is this? If you're with us till the end of the video, you'll see just how Stas uses this thing.
Oleg, we're not even on the road, and I'm already worried. Behind the chairs in the cabin, there's a full room with 2 beds, a fridge, and even a microwave.
Persian carpets.
Yeah.
As you can see, it doesn't get cheaper than this. This is your life from now on. All right. This is bedroom 1. And up there is bedroom 2. Which one are you taking? And there's a little window over here.
That is actually pretty fantastic. If you break suddenly, I won't fly out.
Yeah, you won't ever be able to get down from here. Frontally, you need to turn around and come with your ass first. Because the step can be slippery, or there could be something on it. You'll fly out. Here's a closet. Storage. And above that,
that's pretty handy.
There's this. Now we roll. Our next stop is Seattle, Washington State. We are planning to be there by Monday.
How many kilometers?
The navigation system is showing 2,108 miles. We'll get there at 9:28 p.m.
So basically that's 3,000 kilometers, more than 3,000.
Yeah, maybe 3,500, I don't remember.
You've got about kilometers that quickly?
Well, the first year when I first learned to convert them, I learned to count in centimeters. But it's the temperature that really got to me. Let's say the display is saying that it's 75 degrees. That is in Fahrenheit. Here's the method. Minus 30, then you have that, and you get Celsius. So we take 75, minus 30 is 45. And then you divide that number by 2, 22 and a half. So today it's 22 degrees.
You know, guys, I have never been in a truck like this in my whole life. They're all privately owned, and it feels like like you're in some kind of massive machine, a huge machine. I mean, just look at the windows. They're not just big, they're absolutely massive. You can see everything from up here, and all the cars below look like tiny bugs, like you could just squash them. And so, our first cargo, 10 tons of frozen meatballs from Chicago all the way to Seattle for $3,650. We have 2.5 days to get them to their destination, or we won't get paid. Alright guys, we made a quick little pit stop so that we could show you this small town. This is how the old houses of the American Wild West looked, and as it happens, this is just set decor for films that was built by Hollywood studios. the film studios that build them quite often to recreate that era. They put a lot of effort into it. They build all of these little houses and all of these saloons and churches and odd places. Well, that is actually an authentic church there. It was just brought here. Everything is brought from different suburbs. This is the place where they shot a few scenes of the Oscar-nominated film Dances with Wolves, and this set in the middle of nowhere has been bringing tourists to the area for 3 decades since the film came out. This is the office of the marshal. And it's so cool that all the old furniture is still here. I mean, I'm setting my camera up in here. Here we have a stove that would have heated this place up. And here is the bed that the marshal slept on. And his hat. The wardrobe isn't a replica, it is real. It is authentic. And of course, cowboy boots in the cupboard, how could there not be? I mean, come on. You can walk around wherever you want. You can walk into the houses and touch what you want. Obviously, you're going to need a church, and obviously there needs to be a saloon. And obviously the saloon does need a set of swinging doors like these. The owners of this place are constantly bringing new houses and exhibits for people to see and experience. Just look at the interior of the saloon. It really feels like I'm in an American Western. And these are the bedrooms in the saloon, something like hotel rooms. Let's see what a bathroom was like. This is just a normal big bathtub. And down here, we have a stove. That's how they heated the water that they used to wash. They slept in there. But did they sleep? It's a saloon after all. You can spend hours walking around this place. This is incredibly authentic. This is a feeling that you are in the genuine Wild West, in classic, pioneering, old-timey America. The America of the conquerors of the West. The gold prospectors, the fearless cowboys of that day. The time of the lonely Billy Bones with his revolver. It's all so real. In America, there are dozens of towns like this. Some were movie sets and some were really lived in. For example, the towns of the gold diggers, and all of them were turned into attractions for all the tourists here. It seems like locals in America really can create attractions basically out of thin air. What do you think of this old car junkyard in Nevada? Tourists flock to it. And in Nebraska, there are old cars that have been made to look like Stonehenge. This is Carhenge, also a local attraction. A pizzeria with a real organ in Arizona. A hotel for dogs in Idaho.
Would you stay?
Over here, they have a massive ball that you can just go and paint. And it's even in the Guinness Book of World Records as the most decorated ball in the world. Musical pavements in New Mexico, where as the cars drive over them, it makes them produce music. The biggest statue of buffalo. The biggest statue of a horse. The biggest chocolate fountain in the world. The world's biggest museum, the things made of hair. Yes, this is all made out of hair. Don't think I'm envious though. Basically, wherever you go, you're bound to find museums, attractions, all the sights you could want. But the thing that amazed me the most was this seemingly unremarkable church.
Gambling and religion, all in the same place.
Guys, I have never seen anything like this. Just look.
And there's a yellow toilet.
Right. Now we need to go out and look closer. This is a church and casino. I really feel like this is only possible in America. I mean, it is a church. A real functional church that worked for some time, but the number of parishioners kept getting smaller and smaller. So then they sold the church building, and what was it that they turned it into? Ta-da! A casino! The casino really changed the fate of the church. Yes, the casino also closed down. So at first, there was a church which closed because parishioners stopped going. Then it was a casino which closed because there simply weren't enough people who wanted to splash their money. Yeah, so the church was converted into a casino, and that's something I haven't seen anywhere else. It's super unusual. But I know the Americans are very religious, right?
Yeah, very. Very. You will see that, I mean, if you don't have any residence, then you don't have parishioners, and there was nothing to stop the building from falling apart. So the owners sold it. They sold it. It became a casino. So what's the problem? I think that in other countries where there's also a dwindling population in the rural areas, old people aside, there's not really anyone to go to church and have to keep maintaining the building. So...
Well, I actually know a country that turned churches and other cultural centers into warehouses. It was called the Soviet Union. The Soviets did that.
Every kind of bright ray, you shine in the day, and never ever fly away, not for long.
Americans truly love traveling around their own country in their cars and visiting landmarks. Don't forget, they don't have ancient castles and monasteries, but statistically, 75% of Americans go on a road trip at least once every single year.
Do you know how a person can learn to become a truck driver?
How?
As soon as a truck driver sits like this, like this, he's using his foot to control the truck. That's when you know he's a true expert at what he does. He feels confident. You shouldn't do that.
But everyone does that.
Everybody does it, yeah.
Basically, truckers have an entire culture around how to behave in their cab and how to decorate it. It's not just in the US, but here the tradition is on a different level. Just look at this rig that has its engines exposed. The dozens of chrome pipes, all the spikes, a sword, and a Thor-themed mural. And also, this Viking truck with faux wood-fuel tanks, a battle axe, and flaming horns. A lowered semi-truck, which is a street racer's dream. American truckers famously don't have any limits when it comes to the many ways they decorate their own monsters. But it's mostly trucks that have the name Peterbilt that gets this kind of treatment. Huge, boxy machines that are legendary in American trucking culture.
Peterbilt owners don't even think of us as real truck drivers. You'll see at a truck stop, keep an eye out. Peterbilt owners are those stereotypical hardcore old American dudes. They're greasy and grimy, and they might even have, cigarette in their mouth and a gun in their belt ready for a showdown. They're real cowboys. Cowboy truckers. It's interesting. It's like a whole identity, a culture that they've built around Peterbilt trucks. You really have to love them. Those are more expensive than the other trucks, and they all look a lot cooler. Americans love decorating their homes and everything, right?
Yeah.
Well, some of them do that to their trucks. There's this one guy, he went completely nuts with it and spent lots of money. He ended up turning his truck into something, we call it the Devil's Machine. It's got chains and it's all pitch black, and he drives it all over America, and wherever he goes, people stop and film it. I've seen him around.
At any gas station or truck stop, guys who own a Peterbilt definitely stand out. James Vagan has only driven Peterbilts since 1989. Did you ever drive like a Volvo or...
No Volvos, no automatics, no, just...
Hardcore and old school.
No, just trucks. Real trucks.
He's inviting me inside to show me what his cabin looks like. They can all be very different, but the classic is chrome detailing and a completely manual transmission. You have a manual gearbox, completely manual. Guys, just look at what's happening on the dashboard here. Everything is covered in chrome. Did you customize it, or was the truck like this, or did you customize it?
I did this.
You did it. Look at the steering wheel. Here is a big double bed, so you don't have a second bunk, right?
No.
Only one. But this bed is huge. Much bigger than in a Volvo.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a fridge.
This is a fridge, a refrigerator, yeah? He has a fridge here, guys. This is a closet, right? And a closet there? Peterbilts really stand out. I mean, just have a look at how much chrome there is on this beast. The bumper, exhaust pipes, even the step and the brush on it for cleaning your soles. From a technical standpoint, these trucks may fall behind some competitors, but they make up for it with charisma. Basically, American semi-trucks became big and brutal after 1982, when the country lifted all restrictions on their length. Suddenly, they could be as long as people wanted. Before that, trucks here often had cab-over-engine designs, like in Europe, which saved space on the road. But once the restriction was lifted, trucks quickly started getting longer. First, in the front. The engine moved forward from under the hood, making the cab quieter and more comfortable. Then, they grew in the back. The sleeper compartments in American trucks are much larger than in European ones. Cab-over-engine trucks make the vehicle more compact and maneuverable, which is important on Europe's narrow roads. In the US, highways are spacious, so that is not a concern at all. In European-style trucks, to access the engine, the entire cab has to be tilted, which means clearing stuff out. That's inconvenient for Americans. On top of all that, truck speeds in Europe are usually limited to 80 kilometers an hour, while in America, they can easily reach up to 85 miles per hour, about 137 kilometers an hour. So the added safety you get from having a longer hood is not bad. Overall, if Europe prioritizes efficiency and standardization, the US does comfort. Some sleeper cabins in people's trucks are more like small apartments. I'm heading over to talk to another driver now. So you have over here a big refrigerator?
Yeah.
A whole corner where you can eat, yeah? With a big table.
Yeah, come here.
Yeah? The trucker is showing me a big TV he has that slides out. You have a bathroom?
And a shower.
Toilet? A shower there.
Yeah.
Wow. And how do you like this example of a huge kitchen with a sitting area? And here is a jacuzzi in a truck and a plasma panel. This cost $500,000. What was the longest trip you've ever taken in this truck? I mean without stopping at home.
Well, I've been on the road for 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah.
And is that the longest you've been on the road, or do you always travel this long?
I've only ever traveled up until this point. Roughly 1,000 miles, 1,200 at the most. But I'm already spoiled by this, spoiled. I've got to have a bed like this, I can lower it down.
Yeah.
Let me show you.
It's a big bed, isn't it? It's a king size, right?
A full-size bed.
Yeah.
A full bed in my truck.
Yeah. May I ask you, do you miss home when you're on the road in your truck?
No, because I'm not married. My son is 30 years old. It's just me. So I call myself, a paid tourist. Because I travel around the country, I have everything here that I need. Look here, I'm making myself spaghetti. I've been driving for 35 years.
35 years?
Yeah.
And you like it?
Well, in 35 years, a lot has happened. But yeah, I really love trucking. Because nobody tells you need to do this and you need to go there. You just load your cargo and take it where you need to go to deliver it. And that's it. That's all. I stop where I want to stop,
This is a weigh station up
Yeah,
ahead,
that's right. Pull in and get weighed. Before every new leg, you have to get weighed. But there are rules. Each state has its own limits for how much weight you're allowed to carry in your truck. But overall, across most of America, the limit is 80,000 pounds.
Not every single truck gets weighed. It's completely random. In fact, after driving over 9,000 kilometers across the US, we only had to go through this process once. We're carrying a small load, so we're hoping that they let us go right away.
They weigh us. And if the reading comes in too high, then
What will happen?
they'll put us out of service. Right now we're at 59,000. So we're not too heavy. Pretty light.
The police can also do an inspection on the spot, and if they do, the stop could take a while. An officer comes to ask me what I'm doing in the cab.
Are you a driver too?
No. According to American law, strangers are not allowed inside the cabin, which is why truckers are usually unwilling to pick up a hitchhiker. For me, for example, Oleg organized an official permit. But the officer still wasn't convinced, so he decided he was still going to detain us.
You and I didn't get lucky.
We're off to the police station. The weather's being strange, frosty and sunny. The officers are checking our documents, and it turns out that there is a raid on trucks. They're stopping all of them today,
Yes,
right?
that's the way it seems. They're inspecting every truck.
It's interesting that in American government buildings, they like to hang photographs of the local governors up on the walls. On the right is Kristi Noem. While we were driving, she was the governor of North Dakota, but then Donald Trump, he's considered her favorite, named her the head of American Homeland Security. In that capacity, she is personally going after immigrants.
One of these individuals was so dangerous, and we needed backup forces to come here.
She is the speaker for Guantanamo Bay, where immigrants are detained.
We're down here at Guantanamo Bay, and this is where we bring the worst of the worst criminals to house.
Another interesting thing is that they have pictures of her hanging in Guantanamo.
You passed inspection. All the paperwork is here. Do you have any questions?
May I ask, just for my blog, what exactly are you inspecting? I just want to know what you're checking for.
So, I pretty much just check all the documents, all the paperwork, and I go out there, do a walk around, I'll check the truck, lug nuts, seat belts, all the things that have to do with safety.
Do you often find trucks that aren't in order?
Oh yeah. Cracked rims, loose lug nuts, bad seat belts. Depending on how bad things are, we either completely take the vehicle off the road or send it for repairs. Yeah.
However, for successfully passing such an inspection, a truck driver in the US gets some nice bonuses.
For passing the inspection, they gave us $300.
Oh, we're going to get $300 from this.
Yeah. And I'm sure you're wondering why the company incentivizes passing inspections. Well, passing the inspection cleanly,
it improves the rating, right?
Yes.
Aha, so it's for the insurance company.
Insurance premiums down. It makes the company seem reliable and like a company that does things properly.
That's awesome. So for this trip, we are going to get $3,950 for 3 days of travel. And once the trip is over, we're going to add up our expenses. We are entering one of the more dangerous sections of the journey. On one hand, the road here is literally hypnotic. It's flat, monotonous, with no turns for hundreds of kilometers. But on the other hand, the wind is so strong that if you let your guard down, the multi-ton truck could be blown over.
The wind here picks up suddenly, and it can reach speeds of 60 to 70 miles an hour. It's constantly relentless wind.
Here, the driver starts turning the truck, and the driver slows down. But this does not save him.
Oh boy, here we go.
There's nowhere you can really go. Of course, you can look for a parking. But you end up with several trucks next to one another. They're shielding one another. Or you can stop under a bridge or something else. The record holder in terms of wind is probably Wyoming. Hunter drives a S80 from Cheyenne to Salt Lake City. But here we have already started to enter the part of the route near Yellowstone National Park.
Yellowstone National Park was the first national park that was established in the world. Ever since 1872, fauna and flora here has been protected by the state, and that is the reason a bison is legally allowed to ram your car. Many tourists stop here to take photos, but it can get pretty dangerous. Every day, more people die from bison attacks in Yellowstone Park than they do from attacks from bears.
Got you tulips in a twist. Hand up boss like communist. Never ever get back all the things I missed.
But on the road, the most dangerous animal is none other than humans. The truck is catching up to a school bus, but it won't come to a stop. Miraculously, they find a little gap and go between everyone. And now we're going to see what was going on inside the bus. It doesn't always end with a happy ending on the roads of America. Incidences on the road often end up in pileups, literally translated as train accidents, where a huge truck causes a pileup involving dozens and sometimes over 100 cars.
Dramatic footage from a dash cam in New York shows a massive pileup caused by a heavy truck crashing into a traffic jam.
In a huge accident in the north of Texas, at least 6 people have been killed. It's unbelievable.
Hello, ma'am. Could you please tell me where the accident happened?
I think because of the ice, they hit us really hard. What happened here? Oh my god, oh my god!
This is an accident that happened in 2021 in Texas. Just look at what happened on the road. Ice is a rare occurrence there, and when it happens, authorities put signs out on the roads to show people that they have to slow down.
A person from India, who didn't know how to speak any English at all, in the state of California, there are schools that teach Indians and help them to pass the exams to get their CDLs.
CDL stands for Commercial Driving
Commercial Driver's
License,
License,
right?
That's the one, yeah. They get it themselves. The owners of the school have the authority to issue them. They can issue the licenses directly. And that's because in America, people tend to be very trusting. If you go to any institution, they won't ask you for a lot of documents. They don't need anything from social services and whatnot. They might just take your word for it and say, okay. But then in, California, you can take the CDL test, the only state currently after that accident, where it's still allowed to take the test in Russian, Ukrainian, Armenian, and various other languages. Languages other than English. There aren't any other states that allow this anymore. It used to be possible in places like Washington and Florida and New Jersey, but now it's been completely banned. California is kind of like a separate country. What was the cause of the accident? He didn't read the sign. A sign is like a road sign. And he was going 70 miles an hour. He didn't even slow down. He just kept on going. And he killed a lot of people, and after that, they started to require that the exams are to be taken in English and nothing else.
Huge accidents in America are so common that they have become a common event in American movies. The most famous scene is in the film Blue Brothers 2000, which even made it into the Guinness World Book of Records. For the filming of this scene, 57 cars were destroyed, and that cost 10% of the film's entire budget. Drivers of passenger vehicles, unfamiliar with how hard it is to drive a truck, are often the cause of accidents. This truck's going along peacefully, the driver's even singing. Suddenly, disaster. The driver of the truck has to brake suddenly, but his vehicle is falling and ends up on its side.
What is most important?
Yeah.
Safety. We're very big and we're very heavy. We weigh multiple tons. Our braking distance is massive. We can't just stop as quickly as a regular car can. People who've never driven a truck don't get it, especially when they're driving in front of a semi and pulling sudden moves. You need to understand that if you want to mess around in front of a truck, it can run you over and kill you. Not because the driver wants to, but because they physically can't stop it in time. And when that happens, you're gone, and the driver's life is wrecked too. It doesn't matter if it wasn't their fault, the result is the same. So you need to remember that if you think you're gonna flex or prove something, if you think you're being cool by doing tricks, if you think that you're a big guy by fooling around and being stupid on the road in your little car, don't do that in front of a semi because you'll never win. The truck will flatten you and there'll be nothing left.
I've been running so long.
In South Dakota, in an especially rural area, you can find one of the most famous symbols of the United States. This is the main attraction of the state of South Dakota, Mount Rushmore, or the Mountain of the Four Presidents. Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Lincoln. And these faces were carved from 1927 to 1941, so it took them almost 14 years. Here's what the mountain looked like before the monument was created. Interestingly, this was originally nothing more than a private project of a mining company that was aiming to carve the heads of some of the Union generals, that is, the generals of the Northern Army during the Civil War. But later, the project was changed to feature the heads of presidents instead. In fact, these weren't supposed to be just heads, but busts down to the waist. Washington, for example, was meant to be visible down to the waist. But in 1941, the funding ran out, and the mountain stayed as it is now. Interestingly, at the same time, there was a local Native American tribe who claimed that they had rights to the mountain, and they said that they had an agreement with the government of the United States, which said that these lands were meant to be part of a reservation, and they said that these agreements were violated.
Native Americans are now using this famous national monument to raise their demands for land return to a new level. We are tired of not being respected and of being lied to. But before you see educated natives, new warriors, people that won't be pushed around,
these Native Americans renamed Mount Rushmore, and it's now called Crazy Horse Mountain.
And then, back in 1980, the court ruled that the Native Americans were right, that the agreements had indeed been violated, and that the mountain should belong to them. And as a result, they were awarded $102 million in compensation of what they'd been put through, $102 million. As for the tribal chief, guess what he said? He didn't want the money, he wanted the mountain. He wanted to tear down the heads of those white men because it's sacred land to them. So at the end of the day, he didn't take the money.
Mount Rushmore is one of America's most iconic monuments. But now the United Nations claims the National Memorial is built on sacred land and should immediately be handed over to Native American control.
And then in 2011, the tribe was offered the money once again. And this time, the amount they were offered included interest from the previous offer, so the offer came to a total of $1.3 billion. Once again, the chief said he didn't want the money. He wanted the mountain, and he wanted that torn down.
There's a fund now that's over $1 billion. But the Native Americans don't want the money. They want their land back. That's not likely to happen, so they're in a tricky position.
In 2021, the tribe was offered money again, and it seemed like this time would be the last time. And the offer was $2 billion. The chief didn't change his mind. The only thing he wanted was to tear those heads down. $2 billion. My friends, $2 billion. All for this mountain. And he refused. Because it's a sacred mountain. On the other hand, looking at how pretty the landscapes here are, maybe they thought that $2 billion is too little for them. Right next to the monument of the four presidents, there are flags and names of all the territories belonging to the United States. Most people are aware that the United States consists of various states. Many also know that there is a separate District of Columbia, where the country's capital is located in Washington. But very few people know that the US has a huge number of unincorporated territories, which still remain colonies, and they are American colonies. They belong to the United States. For example, American Samoa, territory from 1900. Or here, Guam, a territory since 1898. Puerto Rico, a territory from 1898. By the way, Puerto Rico officially belongs to the Congress of America. That's how it is. It belongs to the Congress of America. The Northern Mariana Islands are one of the last US colonies since the year 1976. Interestingly, there is still an empty space right here. I guess you never know. Some new territory might just end up here. The chance still exists. For the last few years, there have been rumors about what truck drivers earn. Some people say that it's mountains of gold.
There is a UPS driver who earns an average of $170,000 a year.
Hi, I'm Clarissa Rankin. I'm 36 years old and I live in California. I'm a female trucker. And I make over 6 figures a year. Last year, JC Rankin said that I earned in total $144,208.
The most I ever made in just 4 days is $1,900.
Right, $2,700 fell in my account. To be exact, $2,722. That was in the first week I worked by myself.
And on the other hand, there are drivers that struggle to make ends meet.
Many drivers have found themselves homeless now. They can't afford a home. This is my home.
Truckers even started protesting to be paid normally, and so that immigrants and newbies are kept from driving to not lower the prices.
In the days of COVID, there was a big fight. There were some truckers who were receiving insane amounts of money, up to $50,000 a month net. That's what they took home. And
50,000?
Yes.
Is that possible?
Yes.
The country has run into a deficit of trucks.
There actually aren't enough truck drivers to clear the backlog at the ports.
That's good news for Ron Boldner, who has big dreams of driving a big rig. What made you decide to go for it now?
Well, money, of course.
Reports that demand is driving up paychecks for first-time drivers.
We the top 10, UGK the major way, not playing, it don't stop here. Traffic lights, we going,
no one wanted to drive, but the cargo had to be delivered. People had to be fed, groceries and household goods needed to be taken to the supermarket. And they paid insane amounts of money, and the drivers who signed contracts, they signed up with delivery companies. There was this old guy that I met in Denver, in Colorado. And in COVID, he had a contract with Kruger, that's a grocer, to do 300 miles a day. So he would leave at 6 a.m. and at 2 p.m. he would be back at home. And that was every day. The only catch was that he had to agree to work on Saturdays too, 6 days. And he was guaranteed $6,000 in wages.
A week?
A week. And if there wasn't any cargo, no cargo at all, they still had to pay him $6,000 a week.
So he got $24,000 a month just for working 2-hour days.
Yeah, up to 2 hours. His contract is for the next 7 years. It's unlikely, but it's stable. And
a stable $24,000 a month.
Yeah.
Just for driving 300 miles a day.
300 miles, yes. 300 miles.
Wow, he's living the dream, Oleg.
In America, there are tons of crazy things going on. And I keep saying that in America, you can't apply logic to anything. Because there isn't any at all. None of it makes any sense.
But lucky guys like that, who get paid a lot and whose companies pay for everything, are hard to find. Most truckers have huge expenses, as well as huge incomes. Tell me about expense. How much does a truck like this cost? Like this one? Roughly.
Well, this year prices fell quite a bit. That was because the market sank, so you can get one for about 160,000, or at least less than 200,000. But that is just like a ballpark figure.
Is that new or is that
No,
new?
That's brand new. Second hand, you're looking at around 100 to 112,000.
But truck drivers rarely own their own trucks. In the US, we can divide it roughly into 2 types of truckers in the country. The first type is salary drivers who are paid based on the miles they drive. Their rate depends on experience and type of cargo, ranging from 25 cents per mile all the way up to 60. The first type of driver, when working a bit, earns around $4,000 to $5,000 a month. And then there's the second type of driver who works for themselves. They pay for everything themselves. So leasing, as well as insurance, truck maintenance, as well as fuel, and the broker's fee for finding loads. But they get to choose which loads they want to take, and they keep the costs of the transport. The second type of driver can make tens of thousands of dollars a month. But they can also go bankrupt at the drop of a hat. For example, if the truck gets stuck in a snowfall and needs to be towed, that's going to cost around $5,000 in the USA. The biggest expense is always gas. Knowing how to fill up correctly determines if you'll make money off of a load or not. All right, come on. We're going to fill up a tank. Filling up a vehicle can be tricky over here. Prices for gas in the USA vary greatly from state to state.
Dallas, Texas. In Texas, you are going to pay the least for fuel. And by the way, quite expensive. San Francisco, I think it'll be more than $5. It'll be $5.10 or $5.20 a gallon. And when you're dealing with a crisis, it can get bad. Now let's have a look at Sacramento. That's getting close to 5.
Yeah, it's almost 5.
That isn't bad. That's not bad. That's all right. That's pretty cheap for California. During the Depression, it reached $11 a gallon.
$11 a gallon?
That's right. There were a lot of videos on the internet that spoke about it. They compared when their meter worked for the pumps. They compared it to the slot machines, when the fruit spins past. They were waiting for the jackpot to hit. And in the end, you're refueled for $1,500. Jackpot.
Our truck is a gas guzzler, about 30 liters per 100 kilometers. And in one day, we can drive up to 1,300 kilometers. The difference in diesel price, by $1 per gallon, could save us $100 a day, or a couple of $1,000s a month. We're trying to make it to the Rapid network, where the cheapest fuel on our route is. $3.10 per gallon, but in the night, we're still forced to make another stop.
We're filling up with diesel for 3.63.
At that price, we won't be taking much.
Since you're going to be filling up, I'm not going to bother putting gloves on.
The engines are really going! Guys, we're only going to be filling up 50 gallons tonight because the gas is so expensive here. While the fuel is being pumped into the 2 tanks, we scrape the bugs from the windows and headlights. It helps for a short time. After about half an hour of driving, the windshield will be filthy again, but at least we can enjoy how clean it is for a little while. There.
All right, we finished fueling up.
We're sleeping here in the truck in a parking lot. We got to a place called a truck stop, a place where truckers can stop and they can get a wash and sleep, for example. They can sleep safely in their trucks, do laundry, get something to eat and drink, and this truck stop isn't the biggest in the country, although it is very, very big. And all throughout the night, engines are going. They keep their engines going because that powers their stoves and their air conditioning, electricity, and all that. There's a humming, the air is vibrating. You can feel everything vibrating. But we've decided not to stay here long, and we leave early in the morning, so that we can find better priced fuel. Oh my gosh, guys. It is a beautiful morning. There are just endless expanses. The sunrise, look at this, is happening in front of my eyes. The air is fresh. It is so clean and pure and sweet. You slept in this shower trailer, where of course it is not as cozy as my bed at home. But then you wash yourself in that public toilet there, but then you step outside. and you see all of this, and it is incredibly beautiful. I don't know, guys, for the sake of such surprises, for the sake of seeing all this with your own eyes, the beauty of nature, for the sake of seeing some gorge, the mountains, the plains, the winds that run wild, for this, it is definitely worth traveling on a trailer or not. Look at those girls. They came to take pictures of the beautiful sunrise. And I understand. By the time we got to the store to clean ourselves up a little bit and have breakfast, I was already very hungry. Let's go, I'll show you. I'll show you the inside view into what it looks like in one of these truck stops. Please bear with me here, I promise it's interesting. It looks like a proper supermarket. There is food, coffee, but not just that. These truck stops often have a casino. And some guys are really going for it. You shouldn't do that. You'll lose the money that you earned hauling cargo. Then it's all for nothing. Have a look at what they sell at the till of this truck stop. All sorts of these little pills. I'm sure you can guess what they're for. Here are pills for stamina and for endurance. Here are pills for energy, if you need it. Here are pills for weight loss, in case you need to get thin in a hurry. If I'm reading this right, these are boosters. They're booster tablets. For truckers, to have stamina and endurance, they will sell these tablets. We all need a boost. Here we have all kinds of tools that could come in useful in looking after your car. And then also, we have some flannel shirts and puffer jackets and more clothes down here. People are walking around here like zombies. Some sweaters, these ones with slogans on them, and there are also hoodies. Let's see, this one is $35, this one is $25. Here we have confirmation that women can also be truck drivers. This is a very pink stand. Here we have a driver's license case. It's just that, is this just for beauty? Well, I guess it's fine to have something just for beauty. This is for headphones. Look at these little pods. Aren't they just so tender and beautiful? But now it doesn't want to go back into its place. And look at this little pink adapter. Just look at it. Isn't it so cute? On top of that, gas stations like this have laundry rooms, rooms to relax in, and showers.
You see this?
Uh-huh.
Shower 3.
Yeah. The shower here is like an electronic line. Like in a bank. They gave me a ticket, or rather Oleg got one. My shower number 3, that's quite something.
Yes, put in your PIN.
I'll put in my code. Let's see.
If it doesn't work, you can come and shower with me.
It worked. Right, I have to say, this shower room actually looks pretty decent. Here is a toilet, and over here is the shower. There's even a set of towels. Look at this, 1, 2, 3, 3 towels for me. Here is the sink, and my things are over there. This isn't bad at all. Let's see if they filled up the soap. Yeah, they have soap, but do they have water? Yeah, there's lots of water. And look at the fan that they have in here. That's probably for when it gets hot.
When I get high, I ain't looking at the clock, still ballin' like Brian.
Guys, it's actually so nice to get myself in order here. Because sleeping in a trailer isn't that comfortable. Because in the mornings you are broken. And after a shower, I feel much better. I really feel like a brand new man. There's nothing like taking a shower when you feel dirty. You can almost always find stickers like these, and the messages on them really say a lot about the people who buy them. Like this, for example, I work hard so my dog can live a better life, or this one, dogs, because people suck. In fact, many truckers do live solitary lives because when you are on the road for 3 weeks out of 4, or even 4 weeks out of 4 in a month, it's rare for a family to agree to wait for you. But thank God there are still some in the world who will do that. People like that exist. Patriots born free. There are a lot of patriotic stickers around here. Breaking news. I don't care. Here's another one. I'm fed up. Dirty hands make clean money. Oh, by the way, it is often dirty hands that make the cleanest money, you know? And here's a very American thing. These stickers of women without clothes on, skinny ones, and then here we have some plus-sized ones. Now this is interesting. They sell these hands-free systems at truck stops. And look, it's interesting. These are the hands-free systems most truckers use. Now we know where they get them. And it looks like these systems aren't all that expensive. Look, for example, $219, $179. Yeah, the cheapest one is $120. Well, I have seen some expensive, better quality hands-free systems costing the same as these ones. From big companies like Apple. But for some reason, I don't know, truck drivers like to use these massive headphones with the microphone sticking out instead of using AirPods. Okay, let's go. Day 2.
Let's go. Leave a like. Subscribe to my channel.
Understand, or we'll run you over.
Angry since this morning.
Yeah.
You better hit that like button right now.
And I can promise you, that's not a request.
It's not a request. We're not playing around.
We are 2 big, dirty truckers telling you to leave a like.
Good morning.
Remembering the variety of pills that they were selling at the truck stop, I decided to ask Oleg about his personal life on the road. Tell us about girls on the road. Is there such a thing?
I've seen a bit of that in the more seedy outlaw states, yeah. Somewhere in, for example, Memphis, if you go to the truck stops there, you might find some dodgy girls hanging around, but for them to come up to the window and knock and say,
basically saying,
do you have a moment to hear the Gospel of Matthew? Yeah, that doesn't really happen. Yeah.
That doesn't happen, right? And they don't stand on the sides of the roads.
No. Even in the big cities, it's not really a thing anymore, except in maybe spots like San Francisco. But for somebody to just be hanging out on the side road doesn't really happen. First of all, truckers are not allowed to pick anyone up on the road because you never know what someone might do, you know? And a truck is a very serious vehicle that could be used for a terrorist act or whatever. So it's not just about picking up hitchhikers. If someone is clearly in need of help and you see something crazy happening, then you can stop, and you should stop and try to help them out. But to just pick up a passenger, even with you, we did it the right way. But I wouldn't just be able to pick you up. There's a whole long process to go through. I was the one who had to organize the permits.
Actually, of course, the pills that they sell at the truck stops aren't just there for no reason. The women who work at these places at night are commonly known as lot lizards. Basically, lizards from the parking lot. While we were driving, we found a restaurant called Taste of Siberia. And we could not just pass by without trying it out. It's closed. It turns out it's just a trailer that sells food. Oh, there's borscht. Yeah, perfect. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Oh, so you're open. This really is Siberian cuisine, right?
Yes.
I'm not exaggerating when I say we are in the most rural part of America, in the state of Montana, one of the largest yet most sparsely populated states inside the United States of America. In size, it is bigger than Italy, but the population is only about 1 million people. Finding borscht in a local village is like going to a Yakutian dorm and finding Mexican tacos. But the US is a country of immigrants, so this is actually quite normal here. Will you please tell me how you ended up opening a Siberian restaurant in Montana?
Well, I've lived in the country for 21 years now.
Uh-huh.
I worked in a school for 18 years. I was the lunch lady.
Yeah.
And then last year, I decided to resign.
And decided to open your own stall.
Yeah, I wanted to see if I could make it on my own.
That's great. But tell me, Siberian cuisine in Montana, is that popular enough for you to have customers here?
Yes, of course. We get lots of truck drivers.
Alina cooks the dumplings for each customer, with the borscht made ahead of time. How many portions would you say you sell in a day?
That depends, but we sell a lot on the weekends.
Yeah?
I always get it ready in a massive pot, and that usually makes enough to last 2 days on a normal weekend.
Mm-hmm. And how much does a setup like this bring in, approximately?
It really depends where it is. Location. Yeah. Some places are better than others.
So would you say you make $2,000 a week?
A week, yes.
Yeah, $2,000 a week. The most interesting thing is there's a burger joint next door. They sell cheeseburgers, burgers, potatoes, but it went out of business. But here, dumplings and borscht, and they're thriving. The wind is so strong that there is no way we can eat outside. Let's ask at this little store and see if they'll give us shelter while we eat. Let's see. Ah, I forgot to say, this borscht is the most expensive I've had in my life. $15. All right, let's unpack it. I think this is borscht right here, all right? And they gave us sour cream. I would hope so if I paid $15. Dumplings. Look at how thick this borscht is. All right.
So how does it taste?
Well, I would say that it's a bit too thick. But it tastes great. Right. Time for the dumplings. Let's do this. And there's so much broth. Look at that. A spoon of borscht. First, I'll taste the broth. You know, guys, these are proper dumplings. That is brilliant. Bon appetit. Yeah. Really, Lena didn't forget how to make these. It really stuck with her. Listen up. Come to Montana to eat Siberian food. There is a cook right here who sells the real thing. And a pie. Let's open it. Look at how much filling is in there. There is a lot. Guys, this pie is the best part of all this. It is full of cabbage and carrots and spices. The dough is so thin. This pie is the perfect addition. Class. You know, guys, the last thing you expect to see in deep Montana is a stall selling dumplings and borscht. I don't think you'll find a stall in Siberia which is making $2,000 a week. There's no way any Siberian stall selling dumplings and borscht would bring in as much money as this one.
So here we have a straight road until 1,114 miles, and then we turn right. The only thing about this road is that it goes straight as an arrow.
We finally got to our destination at sunrise on the third day. We're in Washington State right now. Washington State is the state of pines, mountains, and the beauty of the north. The views here are very different to Central America. We are heading straight to offloading. Don't they keep an eye out to see who is cutting the seal? Do they just let anyone come to do it?
50-50, it's a lottery. They watch when they feel like it. There.
I am taking that, pushing it, putting it here. They won't offload. If it is not here, we want them to offload it.
Now we have to go and pay for the unloading of the product, even if that product is just a lamp. It is such a stupid part of this. Until we have paid for it, they are not going to unload the products. So now we're going to pay.
I don't understand. They pay for the delivery of the products, but then you have to pay to unload it, right? So you pay for it in the end.
Yeah.
And why do they do that?
Because there's no logic in America.
So, for getting there on time, we'll be paid $3,650. Plus, we passed the inspection successfully, $300 bonus. We paid $1,000 for the truck, $657 to the broker who found the load, and $800 for fuel. That leaves us with $1,493 for 3 days on the road. Come on, guys, there's something I want to show you. I really hope that they're still here. We're in Seattle. We're unloading. As you can see, this is a parking lot. There are refrigerators, huge trucks everywhere. It's all buzzing. But also, Seattle is such a big city. It's big, but it's like a big village. All over the place, there are these beautiful, beautiful parks for people to relax in. Birch trees. It's so beautiful, but still like a village. Now I'm going to show you. It'll be worth the wait. I'm going to show you what's here. Here, look who's here. Look at all these geese. Right in the middle of the parking lot of the massive logistics center. All these geese, they really like grass. A family of wild geese. Seattle, one of the most beautiful places in terms of scenery in all of the USA. And one of the most contradictory.
In Washington, you're allowed to be fully naked. And that group is all naked. They have no clothes on. They have no pants, no underwear, nothing. They're completely naked.
Why are they walking like this?
They walked up to my son. I told them, please, leave. They called the police on me.
They called the police on you?
Yes, they did.
You didn't call the police on them?
Yes, because I told them that I don't want naked people around my baby.
I recommend that you put clothes on while you're in the park, but I'm not gonna force you to put clothes on.
I don't understand what guys and girls are doing. A city of high technology, a city of billionaires, a city with the loosest morality. And one of the epicenters of the drug epidemic that has struck America. Do you use fentanyl here?
No.
No. So no fentanyl?
No.
Okay. Isn't it like that? You have no job and use fentanyl, that's why you don't have money.
No, that's not it. I have money. He has money. He has money.
If you want to ask us about fentanyl, then you're about to blame the victim for falling prey to their circumstances in this country. It's actually all the square community.
This is where our next journey is going to start from the far northwest of the US, all the way down to the southeastern tip, Miami. It's the most profitable route through America for truckers, so let's see how much we can make from it this time. If anything at all. What do you think about being a trucker? Have you ever dreamed of hitting the road? Maybe in a big rig, or even on a massive cargo truck? Does it sound romantic to you? Or boring? Let me know in the comments and like this and subscribe. And as for us, we're off again.